summertime got you on my mind. When the weather's warm and the weather's fine, summertime chilling every night. No, I just can't wait for the summertime.
Hey guys, how are you? It's really good to be filming another video for you guys, and it's going to be a little bit of a helpful video, I hope, for you. I've decided to do a video on finding a new church, and it's something that I have done numerous times, and I feel like I have a few tips and tricks to sort of share with you that you may be either someone who's moving from a church, or you may be someone who's trying to just find a church to start off with. So I thought first of all I would start off with a little bit of my story. So let's get started. Okay, so my story began when I was a baby. I grew up in a Christian home, went to a church, and it was a Baptist church, and I loved it. When I turned about, I think 15, I went to a different Baptist church for about 2 years, and that's when I got baptized. And then I went back to the old church that I was in and stayed there until I was probably about 17. And then eventually, so my parents separated in amongst that, and then eventually I ended up going to my dad's on weekends, so I needed to find a church closer to my dad's place, and that was a bit of a struggle because I didn't really know what I wanted to look for or where I wanted to be at that point. So I ended up going to a Wesleyan church for a couple of months, and it was actually a blessing because it was a place where a lot of them knew my dad, and a lot of them knew my family due to past connections, because my old pa, he was a pastor of a Wesleyan church, so a lot of them knew my family through that. So that in itself was a blessing, and I stayed at that church for a couple of months, and pretty much close to 6 months. And then after my dad passed away, I decided I couldn't go back there because I was just constantly getting asked about how I was doing, or you know, how the family was doing and things like that, and it just became a little bit too much for me to handle. So I decided it was time to move on, and that was pretty scary because I had made friends at that church, I knew people, and I didn't really want to be throwing that all away. So I decided to move, and I was driving past a church on a main road, and it was a Pentecostal church, and it was called City Point, and I decided that I was going to check it out, and I went in there, and immediately I knew that that was exactly where I was meant to be, and I was welcomed. And I tell people this funny story that when I was sitting down listening to the preach, they were handing out these apples, and the apples was like my favorite type of apple. They were the Pink Ladies apples, and they were big and juicy and just amazing. So that was exactly where I needed to be, and straight after the service I was welcomed, I was connected, I was bought coffee, I was treated pretty much like a guest, and I felt so loved and cared for there, and that very quickly became my new home. So yeah, I stayed at City Point for a year, and then very recently I had been driving home and hearing on the radio some ads about a new church starting up. To check it out, I did some research online and decided to attend one of their pre-launch meetings, and it's very exciting. I've now joined up with them, and I'm super excited for our launch in February. It's going to be amazing. And yeah, so that's pretty much my journey as to where I am right now. I wanted to help you guys find that place where you can feel comfortable and loved, and know that that is a place where you should be in that moment. So let's get into the tips. So there are two types of you, whether you are looking to find a new church, or whether you are in a church currently and needing to move. So I have my notes here, and I'm ready to share. So the first tip that I have is to have an open mind. So pray about the type of church you want to be in, pray about the people you want to meet, pray about the location, pretty much pray everything that is on your mind that you're worrying about it, so that you can actually clear it off and be super ready to enter a new season of your life. If you're moving church, be aware that there are some things you really need to consider. And a really good friend of mine A really good friend of mine gave me these tips for people who are wanting to move church, and I thought I would share them with you. I'm sure he won't mind. So if you are moving church, be mindful of why you're moving. Don't move because of an argument that you've had with someone. Don't move because you don't like someone in the church. Don't move because there's too many hypocrites, and don't move because the church might be disorganized. Don't move because the music sucks or there's noisy kids. Like, don't move for superficial reasons. Move because you feel God is leading you to a new season of your life. Move because you are moving into a new season of your life and that you feel that that's where you're being led to be moved. So, if you are someone who is looking to find a new church, again, start with prayer. It's the best place to start, and you'll notice where God is leading you. Here are my tips on finding a new church if you aren't attending one or if you haven't been to one in a while. So the first tip is to find friends who go to church. Find friends who go to different churches and actually ask them what they like about their church, what they enjoy about it, what they don't like, the people there. Ask them about the church and just get a general feel about it. The next thing is to research churches in your area. That is something that I really recommend. You can go on Facebook, you can listen to the radio, you can go on internet and just Google churches in your area, and you'll actually find so many and all of different denominations, and you can find one that suits you. Now, this is a tip that I know is going to be controversial because a lot of people will probably disagree with me, but it's something that I did, and I actually went at this alone. I didn't invite people to go with me to find new churches. I actually went on my own because I knew that when I found this church that was going to be my home church, it was going to be my decision and a place where I feel comfortable, and I'm not listening to, you know, let's say I went to a church with Jenny and Jenny said, oh my gosh, this church is amazing, like you have to go here, like I'll go with you. And that's something that you want to be careful of, because you don't want to be in a place where it's not your own comfortable, safe place where you feel like you can grow your faith, because your faith won't grow unless you are surrounded with people who are going to help you along that journey. So I suggest going to search for churches on your own. Try attending different services. So there's morning services, night services. Some people have midweek services, and I recommend trying them all out. See which one fits you better, see what fits your routine, see what has a better feel to it, and see which one you're comfortable with. And along with that, see how the church makes you feel. When you walk in the building, take note of how you feel. When you talk to a pastor, take note of how you feel. When you sit down with a group of people, see how that affects you and see what goes through your mind, and just be really mindful of the things that you are thinking during your time there. Once you've found a place, have a look at their mission statements and their values, because that is something that I started doing when I started moving churches, and especially when thinking about looking at going to a new church. Mission statements and values were very important to me, and to make sure that they align up with what I believe in too, because if you're in a place where they're believing something that you don't, it's going to make it really hard for you, and you want to be making sure that your values are in line with theirs, because it makes serving in the church so much easier. It makes being there so much easier. The next thing that I highly recommend is to pray. Like pray. Like, you cannot do this without God. It's as simple as that. And by just giving the issues over to God and saying, like, Lord, is this where you want me to be? Is this like the place where you want me to be meeting these people? Is this where you want me to be doing your will? If you're not praying, then you're not building that relationship with God, and that is the most important thing. Other than finding a church, it's the most important thing. And if you aren't a Christian and you're just looking for a church, get someone to pray with you. Just open up your mind to the idea of God and sit down and just say, like, Lord, I just need some help here. It doesn't have to be a super long complicated prayer. It's just purely just saying, Lord, I just need your guidance right now. Once you've gone into the church, find the pastors. Most of the time they'll be down the front and they'll be the ones speaking. Duh. So you just go down after the service and introduce yourself if they haven't already introduced them to you. So just see them, say, hey, like, my name is blah, and I'm here for the first time and I would really like to get to know more about the church, and they will help you get connected. Most churches have like a place you can go to that has like a welcoming team, and they will help you go through the process of getting connected in the church. I have to say most churches are really good with this, but I have been to a few that have been terrible, and I've sat there numerous week in week out and have not been welcomed by one single person. And that is a really important thing to find at a church, that there's a welcoming family atmosphere. So once you have gotten involved in that, make sure you get connected. So make sure that there's ways for you to get connected, whether that be in youth, young adults, life groups, pretty much anything. The whole scope in church is massive. Like, you can get involved in so many different areas. So get connected and be brave. Try and put the scared you away for a minute and just know that you're in a safe place to be who you are and to love who you are, and that this is going to be your family. So be brave, step out of your comfort zone, move into church life. Finding a life group is an amazing way to get connected and to have friends. I started a life group when I started the new church at City Point, and I got so many friends. All of my friends in life group are still my friends today, even though I've moved churches. The most important tip, if you take away anything from this video, is to pray. You need to pray. Pray about these decisions. Pray for provision over your journey. Just pray about it. And I promise you that God will come through. He always does. And it may be tomorrow, it may be 3 weeks from now, it could be a year from now, but no matter what, it will happen. And you just have to keep persisting, keep an open mind, keep trying new churches to find the one you like. But I hope that in some way this helped you, and I really would love to know your comments about this. This is like my first like Christian video, so I really hope that you like it. And if you have any questions about churches, or you need me to do some researching for you, or you would like some churches that I've been to and you want to get to know a little bit more about that, leave a comment down below. Thumbs up this video, subscribe for more videos, and yeah, if you are still watching this, let's comment llamas. Comment llamas if you're still watching this, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Okay, I love you guys so much. Bye. Mwah.